Whether you're looking at buying your first home or even trading up, there are many costs included in buying a home that you need to take in consideration for home affordability. These extra fees, such as taxes and other financial fees, could spell financial disaster on closing day if you're not prepared for them. Hey, my name is Dan Inman, your local realtor and guide here in the coastal Virginia area, and you're watching the Living in Coastal Virginia channel. Some of these are one-time fixed cost fees that are included at closing, and others would potentially represent ongoing monthly commitment on your payment. You know, not every single one of these fees is going to apply every single time, but it's better to be prepared and to know what could come your way at closing. Remember, buying a home is a major milestone. Whether it's your first, second, or even 10th home, there are many important details to address during the process. The last thing you need are unbudgeted financial obligations cropping up in the hours before you take possession of your new home. We're gonna go through 13 fees or costs that maybe you haven't taken in consideration. First up is the appraisal fee. Now the appraisal is establishing the value of the home to both protect you, the person borrowing the money, and the lender, the person lending you the money. They wanna make sure that you're not taking out too much money on an asset that may be undervalued. The cost associated with this could be as little as $200 or $300, or it could be as high as $600 depending on if you're doing rush fees or trying to do it on a really truncated timeline. Next up here is property taxes. This goes to your local government to pay for things like police and fire department, your local school, and even to take care of the roads. Depending on where you're from and which city or state that you're in, this could represent a major portion of your monthly payment. Now those taxes are going to be included in your escrow fund. That's going to be pre-funded by your closing costs, but that will come out on a monthly basis and then be paid on whatever term is the local government collects, whether that's once a year, once every 6 months, or every 3 months. Number 3 on this list is your survey fee. Now this is not an absolutely necessary fee, but it's one that you probably should account for. This establishes the boundary of your property to make sure you know what you own. If there's anything that could be encroaching or encumbering onto your property, let's say a neighbor's shed, you want to make sure that you know that before you purchase. If there's anything that could give you a hint that somebody might have something encroaching on the property that you're about to purchase, you most definitely want to budget for a survey. This could be as low as $300 or $400, or as high as $1,000, depending on the size, the scope, the complexity of the property, and how far away it is from major institutions. Number 4 is property insurance. Now this is a really important one because obviously we want to insure the property against any hazards or dangerous or things that could come up in the home ownership process. Now, depending on what institution you go with on getting your property insurance, it could be super high or super low, just like your car insurance. Depending on whether you have a high deductible or low deductible, what the ranges of coverage that you end up getting can drastically influence the amount that you have to pay on a monthly basis. Number 5 would be service charges. Now, sometimes, depending on the local government or the governing institution, there may actually be connection fees or service fees attached to starting up the water, the electricity, the sewage, all of those. And you want to make sure that whatever you're going to be getting into, you know what those fees cost. Your lender, who has worked in the area, should be able to give you at least a rough estimate of what that's going to look like. Next up here on number 6 is legal fees, and you want to pay attention to this one. Depending on the closing institution that you go with, could be a variety of legal fees. These are definitely necessary. You want to have somebody that's on your side. If anything complex shows up in the conveyance of the title or the closing process, you want to have an attorney or someone that knows the legal side inside and out to guide you properly in the event of something that arises. These fees could range as low as a couple $100 or as high as $1,000, again, depending on the complexity of the situation. Depending on the equity in the home, your mortgage lending institution may require insurance, known as mortgage loan insurance or private mortgage insurance. This type of insurance will cost you between 0.5% to 3.5% of the total amount of the mortgage. Usually payments are made monthly in addition to your mortgage and monthly tax payments. Unfortunately, this is basically a tax for not putting enough down on the property. If you have more than 20% down on the property, usually this is gone and you don't have to worry about it. Something like the VA loan, however, pays a funding fee up front, so there's no ongoing payment, but effectively what they do is they tack on a small percentage onto the end of your loan to pay for that in full up front. Number 8 is going to be loan origination points or loan points. Now, depending on your situation and what you're looking at doing, whether you're planning on owning the property for a short period of time or a long period of time, your MLO or your mortgage loan originator should be guiding you on how much you should be paying in this category. it may actually make sense for you to pay a little bit more upfront to lower the interest rate over time, because at year 6 or year 5 or year 7, it may cost more in the short term, but over the life of the loan, let's say year 5, 6, or 7, every month past that, it actually ends up costing less. But you need to account for these costs upfront because these are part of your closing costs. Number 9 is one that I would say many buyers do not account for or totally forget about, and this is just the cost of moving. Now, depending on whether you're going to do it yourself or you're going to hire movers, this can cost several hundreds of dollars to pay a crew, depending on how much stuff that you have to move. And if you're in peak season or in high demand season, that could escalate in 10, 20, or 30% more. Next is just going to be maintenance fees. This is number 10. And if you're in a condo or homeowner or property association, there is a cost associated to maintaining all those items. The pool that you're going and enjoying during the summer, there's a cost associated with that. The condo association that takes care of the roof and the windows and the siding, there's a cost associated to that. Some of these associations require an upfront fee to get things started, and there may even actually be a cost that you have to take on as a brand new owner in that association. Just don't forget to account for that monthly cost of the association fees in the total monthly obligation. Number 11 has to do with water quality. If you're buying a home out in the country or something that's served by a septic or well, there may be an inspection associated with that property. That might be something that you need to take on as the buyer. Sometimes the seller takes it on, sometimes the buyer takes it on. This can be negotiated, but as the buyer, I would want to make sure that whatever I'm purchasing has good quality water coming out of the ground and that the septic system is properly functioning. And you'll need to account for those costs associated with that. Number 12 is a tricky one because you may be already dedicated to an area or moving into an area, but certain local institutions, if they're making improvements to, let's say, to sewer or sidewalks or parks or that type of thing, might have some assessments that are coming up that are going to jack up property taxes. You want to be aware of this. Virginia Beach is a perfect example. Just this year, they're going to be increasing property taxes. I think it's an average about $120 to $170 per year on the average home price for the local homeowner. But what they're doing is they're accounting for the money that it's going to cost to address any of the sea level rise things going here on the coast. If you didn't know that, or that was something that was going to put you over the edge of whatever loan that you're going to be taking out of, it would be really important to be aware of that before you go out and make that purchase. Number 13 is land transfer tax. This is one, again, not many people know about or account for. In the total amount of closing costs that are being estimated by your MLO, your loan officer, they should be accounting for this, but this is something you need to be aware of and is another fee that, if not accounted for, could be something that surprises you at closing. If you would like a dedicated team of mortgage and real estate professionals that look over every single detail with you and will help you prepare for a nice, seamless, and smooth transition here in or out of the coastal Virginia area, all of our contact information is down below. You can get a hold of our team there. And just like a modern doctor's office or a modern dental office, you can jump directly into our calendars with the link down in the description below. You definitely don't want to watch this next video right here. Don't do it. Don't click that. Stop it. Don't do it. Stop. Okay, do it.